time now is 7:07 PM on Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Wayne Township Board of Trustees meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order. May I get a roll call, please?
You may, Mr. Jacobs,
Here.
Mr. Kaufman,
Here.
Ms. Colvin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we have approval of minutes of the previous meeting. So we'll start off with the December 3rd meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All righty, all in favor for accepting the December 3rd regular session meetings, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays, like sign, motion carried.
May I get a motion for the special meeting on December the 10th?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor of accepting the special meeting, December 10th meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays, like sign, motion is carried.
Next, we have any additions, removals, or disclosures from the posted agenda?
Yes, we have resolution 2024-142, 143, and 144. And then I'm requesting a temporary work session, temporary appropriations, and also under number 13, executive session. Motion to enter executive session pursuant to RC 1.1.22G1 to consider compensation of public employee.
Thank you, Gus. Appreciate that. So next, do we have any citizens' comments? Any comments on here? Okay. Thinking that is none, and I will move along to, next will be department head reports. So we'll move in right into the road department. Mr. Scott Cameron.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Don't have any updates for anything, so I will stand by my report as submitted. And that is all I have, unless you guys have something you need to pass along to me.
I'm good.
Yep.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah,
You're
thank you for
welcome.
everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate your work since you're here.
All right, next we have the fire department report. Chief Beckett,
Good evening.
good evening.
I do have a couple of updates to ours. The new turnout gear fitting has started, the ones that we got with the load grant and then you approved, so that process is ongoing. I got notification that they have shipped the helmets, or the helmets have been ordered. They haven't been shipped, but. We had 4 members complete some training this month. Tanner Schenkel completed his firefighter 1. We will be submitting for the training grant for that to see if we can get reimbursed the payment for that. Heather Johnston completed her EMTB. Allison Brown and Tyler White both completed paramedic school and took their national registry yesterday. Both were successful.
Okay,
So
great.
we have two paramedics.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very good.
very
All
stoked.
4 of them. Yep.
We received a Marks grant for $45,839 $45,839.46 for radio updates and things. You got the proposal I forwarded. Thank you to Lieutenant Patterson for putting all that together and figuring out what we needed to complete our radio ensemble. One of his AORs is the mobile communications and stuff, so he fills that role very well. He was able to get us a grant for everything he asked for, so. Resolutions tonight of hiring 3 new part-time members. Andrew Valenti is a firefighter paramedic. Brad Lawson is now a firefighter paramedic. He passed registry as well. He was in the same class. And then Robert Scott is a firefighter EMT. Last Friday I did attend Chief Greaterex's funeral. Chief Greaterex was the chief of Wayne Township in Claremont County. He's the former chief of Hamilton Township. And he was one of my first lieutenant when I worked at Hamilton Township. He will be missed. Tomorrow night, I'm going to the lovely city of Hamilton. The state fire marshal is putting out an update on the Ohio fire incident records management system. I believe that's all I have.
Okay.
Oh, no, I do have more. It wasn't on my report because it happened last night. The Miami Valley Joint Fire District is borrowing our engine 93. They had, I believe, 2 of their engines in their ladder go down out of service. So they called last night about 9 o'clock. Chief Johnson asked if he could borrow our engine. I contacted Mr. Edwards, he gave permission, so they'll have that for the next couple of days till their engines get fixed.
Okay.
And I did offer, got a call from their assistant chief today, said, we've got a problem. I said, oh, perfect. What is it? Because these guys love that engine. So I did offer it, said, 45 out the door, we're negotiable, so haven't heard back yet, but we'll see.
This is the one at the old station? right?
Yes.
Correct, okay.
Now that is all I have.
Any more questions for the chief?
Any questions? We did have our FLSA meeting just prior to this with the department. Lots of good questions were asked, so.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, members, appreciate it.
Next up, zoning department. Ms. Logan, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
It's basically just some upcoming hearings on Thursday. The second part of the Ohio Greenworks application, this is the site plan portion of the conditional use. And then on January 2nd, the zoning commission will meet to make a recommendation on Miami Valley roofing at 8820 Bellbrook Road. Let's see what else. Our HVAC equipment was delivered on Monday, and he's going to be coming after the first of the year to start installation and all that equipment. And one update today, I did apply for the Moore grant for a ladder the road department purchased, and include some of our OTA registration fees to make up the $1,000. And the fire department grant is also worth $1,000, and that'll be submitted this month. The Moore grant used to be $500, but it was increased. So that's what I have tonight.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Stacy, appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up, we have administrative report. Mr. Edwards.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Few updates on the fire department. We had the meeting with the membership tonight. Been talking with prosecutor's office the last couple of days, and I think she shared this afternoon, we do have two different vendors, there are 2 different legal counsels that have submitted proposals to contract for accounting the FLSA, so that they can do an independent review and confirm our payrolls for the amount that is due. And I think the resolution I have tonight will probably select one of the 2. We'll get into that, I guess, at that point in time. LPWC, Franklin Road Phase 2, they had a pre-construction meeting the village of Williamsville did with the contractor, and Warren County Water, or Sewer Department. And I just put this on here because we were not invited, I don't believe. Chief, did you get an invite to that?
I did not.
So, we made it clear at the last construction that we're part of that project, and even if we were part of that project, I think the chief needs to be involved with that, so we know what they're going to be closing down and not. So, Chief, if you don't mind, get with the village manager to get the construction details, and express the fact that contractor needs to keep you updated on status of the road.
Road closures, thank you.
Administration work is in the process. We're working on a timeline of when he's going to be able to do that. Appropriations operations, we have that, Scott, I think, finishes up last night or today, so, we should good on that, we'll present those tonight. Evaluations have been completed, I did not get that turned in today to Mr. Fitzsimmons, I had a retirement thing I had to go to this afternoon, so I will get that to him right after the meeting. So those have all been calculated, and so hopefully you can have those payouts for Friday for our Christmas party. Properties, legal ad, again, waiting for Mr. McGarry, our real estate expertise, before on how to proceed with those notifications. He's not the lead person in the prosecutor's office to take for that, but the gentleman is the new guy that's the new one on the block that's working with it, and he's going to get with Bruce. I will be seeing Mr. McGarry on Thursday at Regional Planning Commission meeting, so he hasn't reached out to me by that time. I will touch base with him Thursday at the meeting. Did sit in on a webinar, Fire Department Grants for Dummies. One thing I did find out is I think, and I'm going to pass this webinar on off to the chief, or see if I can find a way that he can do it, because I do have it where it was taped from OTA. And pretty much everything they walked through, we have covered. So I think there might have been one thing that I'm not sure if we've ever applied for or whatever it is, so I'll get that information out to you guys. And then a couple miscellaneous, website. I can't remember if I talked about this in the last meeting or not, but the company did get back with me that was looking at our website, and there are some ADA compliance issues with it, and naturally they have the fix for it, so I'll probably get him back with the board first of the year. I think with Ionis, I think I can bring ours somewhat up to compliance. He showed me some of the things that were needed, and I think it's capable of doing it. But if not, depending on how much he's going to bug me about this, then unless we get a complaint from somebody else, we're going to have to either take the website down or update it to where it's ADA compliant. And obviously, he did work with the city of Springboro on theirs, so he's monitoring all the websites.
Where's he from?
Huh?
Local?
No, I don't believe so. Off the top of my head, I don't know where he's out of. Some miscellaneous stuff, employees Christmas party, 11:30 here Friday. Close out.
Mine's at 11:30, his says 11.
Okay, so
We'll be here.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Come at 11, you won't be late.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And just a reminder that that's still all right with the board, we have our closeout meeting for the township scheduled for noon on December 30th. That's a Monday. Ricotta security camera system, we got a demo in place at the fire station. This is a very expensive probably system. Probably one that we will not go with. It's got a lot of intricate things that it can do. The county just signed a contract with Ricotta, so they're using them. And if I'm not mistaken, I read it was in the multiple of thousands of dollars, multiple tens of thousands of dollars. But I think they're basically going to use it because they can cover probably all their outlying facilities and everything. And that's one thing that is unique about it is that you can monitor any Ricotta system anywhere as long as you got permission. And it's almost a plug and play. And the demo that they showed us, the chief and I were both on it. I was impressed with it. I don't know if we need it on a small scale.
If I can, it's a very inquisitive, it's got facial recognition, movement zones, all kinds of nifty, cool stuff. But, in calling departments that I know that have it, it is very expensive. So, and it will, so if Tanner walks through and the camera picks it up, I can go back and look, and then I can set an alert that anytime Tanner walks into the camera and it recognizes his face, it'll send me an alert. I don't think we need all that, but it's a pretty intuitive system,
Yeah.
but.
And I think that's all I have for right now.
I saw in the news right before I came to work that, Colerain Township has the fire department listed for sale at $690,000. So maybe we can make the news, on ours when it goes up for sale. If they make the news, we can make the news, right? So, be a good deal, get more people coming in.
Okay, anybody else have any more questions for Gus? Seeing none, we will move on to, yeah, thank you, Gus. We will move on to fiscal officer report. Mr. Fitzsimmons.
Don't really have anything to report. I got all the appropriations, and I do have that one PO, no, not PO, but resolution for the scanning or digitizing of the records. That'll be 144, but we can talk about that when we do that.
Okay.
Other than that, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to old business. Anything with old business? It's got, I think, Mr. Edwards gave us an update on that part of it, so property. Anything else? You have anything? Next, we go up to new business, question and concerns with the bills.
Make a motion to approve the bills as present for payment.
I will second that.
All right. Roll call vote to Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
Mr. Kaufman.
Yes.
All right, the motion's passed.
Okay, next, we have resolutions now.
Yes, we did.
Okay, next, we have resolution 2024-133. This is electing 2 representatives from Wayne Township to the Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Fund Board for the year 2025. So 2 members elected by legislation authority, elected by the firefighters. Okay. So who wants to be the first and who's the alternate? What did we do last time? The board
Yeah, it's just
presidents?
required 2 to be on it, and then, the fire department, selects 2 from it, and then, between the group, then they select a third-party outside person. Has to serve on that annually. Basically what this is.
No, you too.
Okay,
I'll dig it up.
I'll nominate Diane and,
I'll nominate you.
okay.
All right.
My second vote.
So who has nominated them, who's the,
Diane was first.
right, I mean, she's
Diane's on
gonna
one.
be on the council, and then Jacobs is. correct?
Yeah, no, me too.
And then who did the initial
Diane did.
motion? Okay.
Diane made the motion. And then Brad seconded.
All right, roll call, Mr. Kaufman,
Good.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
and Ms. Colvin.
Yes.
This resolution is adopted the 17th day of December.
Next, we have resolution 2024-134. This is approving acceptance and hiring Andrew VALENTI to the Wayne Township Fire Department as part-time firefighter paramedic. Chief, do you have any update on this for this part, or anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah, he came in, he did great in his interview, he works full-time for the city of Lebanon. He's interested in coming here and help build our culture.
Okay.
He comes very highly recommended. I called his references, and they didn't have anything negative to say about him.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-134.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote, Mr. Kaufman,
Yeah.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
and Ms. Colvin.
Yes.
And this resolution is adopted the 17th day of December, 2024.
Next, I have resolution 2024-135. This is approve the acceptance and the hiring of Bradley R. Lawson to the Wayne Township Fire Department as a part-time firefighter EMT.
But he's a paramedic now, right?
He has passed registry, so there's usually about a week lapse or so between national registry and then their state card getting issued. So, he will be a paramedic in the next week or so.
Okay.
He's not a state of Ohio paramedic right now, so if you wanna,
The resolution you're passing, I did amend it to say paramedic on it, so.
okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-135 with the correction of EMT to paramedic.
Second.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Kaufman?
Yes.
This resolution is adopted the 17th day of December, 2024.
Next, I have resolution 2024-136. This is approve the acceptance and the hiring of Robert Scott to the Wayne Township Fire Department as a part-time firefighter EMT. Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, Mr. Scott is, older than most of our, applicants. He's got that middle ground maturity. He's a newer firefighter EMT, but he brings, I think he's in his late 30s, early 40s, so he brings some maturity. He's got a successful law practice, and both Kyle and I were like, why?
Why, yeah.
And that was our question.
Yeah.
We were a little skeptical. He had a tragedy in his family, and he simply wants to give back, and was recommended by Kettering Fire Chief to start here. So it is hands down one of the best interviews I think I've ever been in. But then again, did he go to Yale? It was, yeah, he's yeah.
So if he's an attorney, he should be able to speak.
Right.
Yes.
So it was good. This will be a good addition to our membership.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-136.
37, or 36, I'm sorry, I'm on the
36.
wrong, I'm on the other one.
That's all
I
right.
will second that. I already spoke.
Okay, roll call vote, Mr. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
And Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Okay, this resolution is adopted 17th day of December.
Okay, next we have resolution 2024-137. This is a resolution discontinuing administration of the AFLAC plans to employees other than full-time or elected officials.
Again, this resolution is to do away with some of the problems that we've had with people that aren't on payroll, that it's tough to, when it comes due, for us to pay for their AFLAC policies when they don't have any money banked in our accounts. So this is a cleanup of something that it was a practice that we didn't start out including part-time and volunteers and so forth, but I think it's a good idea that we just keep it to full-time people where we know, because that bill comes monthly, and if they don't work, then we don't have money to pay the bills. So
Yeah.
it's not gonna prevent them from being part of our program if they wanna enter under our program, that they will be billed directly, not.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-137.
Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Kaufman?
Yes.
This resolution is adopted the 17th day of December.
Are they being notified somehow?
Well, talk to one, I think the other one's, one is left, and then I think, what was Mel's status? Okay. Well,
It's,
but yes,
So there was
some of them have been talked to, yes.
just a few that were on the AFLAC?
Yeah, there's only 3.
Oh, okay, so it's not, okay, all right. All right, thanks.
You guys are good. We'll move on to resolution 2024-138. This is a resolution authorizing handling of vacation and compensatory time for employees that may or may not be consistent with the Wayne Township Policy and Procedure Manual or employee contract.
okay, this is just an annual housekeeping thing where we try to reduce our liabilities going forward, and I always send out a request to all employees that how they want to handle their comp time and vacation time, and so if they want it If they weren't paid out, then that's a liability that we can get off our books and not move forward. This year, the way it played out is we're pretty much equal to where we were last year as far as the amount that we're gonna be paying out, and actually, I think we're paying out less, but our liability going into 25 is about the same as last year.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-138.
Now, I'll second that.
Roll call vote, Mr. Kaufman,
Yay.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
Ms. Colvin.
Yes.
This resolution is hereby adopted this 17th day of December.
Next, we have resolution 2024-139. This is a resolution approving 2024 reallocations and supplemental appropriations. So let's turn it back over to Scott.
This is just a standard resolution, Daryl did it, it's just so that we can move money throughout the year, with this resolution. And I'll touch more on that here in a minute, but that's what all this basically is. It's giving me
Some leeway.
leeway.
Between funds?
Huh?
Moving it between funds?
And within inter-fund, not,
Okay.
yeah, you can't, we can't,
I know,
that's a bigger deal. when we
Yeah,
move.
that's so.
Yeah. No, just within the fund,
Okay,
so if the stamps are short, then we put it someplace else.
okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-139.
I'll second.
All right, roll call vote, Mr. Kaufman,
Yay.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
Ms. Colvin.
Yes.
And this resolution is hereby adopted the 17th day of December.
Okay, next we have resolution 2024-140. This is a resolution approving temporary appropriation for 2025.
Is that our work session then?
Is it, this was gonna be?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the resolution 2024-140 will be moved to the work session. Okay, what do you have? So now we got resolution 2024-141. This is approving the termination of certain members from the Wayne Township Fire Department that no longer meet our activity or performance standards. So turn it back over to Chief real quick, give us a brief.
Yeah, there are two members that we have not heard from in several months. We have done everything to reach out, social media, certified letters, both of which got returned. People with mutual contacts, we've asked them to make contact with us and haven't heard anything from them. So I feel we've done our due diligence in trying to have a conversation and gauge what their future would be with the department, and I haven't heard anything from them. So
Do we have their gear?
we will have to seek out one person and get the equipment back from them.
Right. Thank you.
Chief, I do have on here, you can see, I did not remember the date that you sent out the certified letters, but do you by chance know what that is?
11/14.
Scott, did you enter that 11/14? On that blank,
Do what?
11,
on that blank, here on that,
Oh, I see.
should be November 14th is when the certified letters went out.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-141.
a second.
Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
and Mr. Kaufman.
Yay.
This resolution is adopted the 17th day of December.
Next, we have resolution 2024-142. This is accepting the resignation of Andrew Branson from the Wayne Township Fire Department. You have anything else to add, or you good?
Wish him the best in his endeavors.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-142.
I'll second.
All right, roll call vote, Mr. Kaufman,
Yay.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
Ms. Colvin.
Yes.
This resolution is adopted the 17th day of December.
Okay. So guys, so this resolution, so you we go start with resolution now for the firm that we're talking about retaining auditor? So I'll name it out there, let me just start it off first. So resolution 2024-143 is a resolution retaining Clemens Nelson Associates to conduct the independent audit of fire, yeah, I was gonna say the kind of stuff they differ, firefighter compensation policies and practices. There we go.
I think everybody's been copying that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I can't recall today, this morning, Ms. Horvath sent out the second applicant. Did everybody get a copy of that? Okay. And the second applicant was gonna take a considerably longer amount of time because they were gonna have to do some research because this wasn't their bailiwick. It was not a thing that they were really up to speed on, so I guess it becomes my recommendation, and I think her recommendation, that we probably ought to go with Clemens and Nelson's and Ryan P. Woodward, that has done multiple of these.
So is the plan for them to redo based on raw data what was already done, or to take what was put together and verify?
It's my understanding that the hours that he quoted, he basically was going to take probably everything that we have, Tanner has put together and so forth, and review it, if we check it, check and balance it, and probably end up asking us a few questions as far as those payroll reports, and we're maybe getting samples of them so that he feels that he's comfortable with making the recommendation of who gets paid what and in what categories. So, and if it creates more review of those payrolls or whatever, then I'm assuming those hours will go up, because I think he was limiting it to, yeah, if we put a cap at 3,000, I think that captures the amount of hours that we had in here. But it's very minimal. I mean, it's less than a week's worth of work. Until we have everything
Right.
pretty much laid out. But
Yeah.
if he sees something he's not comfortable with, then it's probably going to be add to the hours.
I think based on what she had said, I mean, they sound like a good fit, especially since they've done one
Yeah.
recently.
Correct.
Same thing, so.
Experience.
So I'm gonna make a motion, if you guys are good. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-143.
Stacy, do you have a updated copy without the spelling error?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll second that motion.
You messed me up.
Or fire?
we don't have food fires.
I know, that's what I thought it said too. So you first,
Correct.
he first, and I said. So then. Yeah, roll
I
call.
guess we can just give.
You can remember that till
Yeah.
we down get you.
So Mr. Kaufman?
Yeah.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
Or Ms. Colvin?
Yes.
All right, this passed or adopted this 17th day of December. And the last
So
one.
next we have, yeah. Thank you. All right, next we have resolution 2024-144. This is a resolution to accept a proposal from SC Strategic for the digitizing of township records, authorizing the physical officer to execute the contract on behalf of the township trustees and appropriating funds not to exceed $11,000. So if you wanted to, I don't know if you wanted to add any more to it or not.
We've talked about this for a while.
We have.
So right now, that would be just the top of it. I think next year, there might be another pass of some of the other older stuff. But, prioritize that which is, this audit year, and then stuff that, is permanent records, 60+ lifetime stuff to get in there. Again, that quote, and we might even come less than that, because that was like everything that was
Yeah,
back in the filing room, and that, and all of up here, and not all of this will be,
correct.
digitized, at least now. So I was just really trying to get a ballpark, and that's what they gave us, is the 11s.
But it could come under less, so yeah.
Oh, I
Okay.
think so, yeah,
Is any of the fire department included in that or no?
not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, when we started this project, it was kind of what the, I mean, the initial, eventually, yes. But I think when we started this project, the fiscal office was gonna be the jumping off point, because, but then after that, it certainly can roll to the other, because we don't have a limit on what we can store. We can store absolutely as much as we want. So it would be hopeful, at least in my perspective, I don't know what they think, but at least from the records end of it, I would like to see everything under one roof. That way, everybody, it's just easier to manage, instead of being stockpiled here, and here, So eventually, yeah.
I just strongly suggest that they do a portion of them, a small portion first, then have you beta test it, to see if it
Sure.
meets your
Yeah.
requirements.
Yeah, when they take the records, in fact, they barcode them and everything, so if for whatever reason, someone said we needed December 10th, 2022's meeting minutes, all I gotta do is call them and they'll scan them right back to me right away, so we're not without our documents. So,
Right.
This first pass, I want to I will probably have to come back here for us to maintain for a period of time, so we can kind of work through it, and then we can work on, starting to shred. But we haven't even heard back from the Ohio Department of Historical Records or whatever it is. So right now, we still have to maintain paper documents, so we'll be living in two worlds for a while.
Okay.
But we can start working on that.
I think it makes
It's a good
sense.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good start. Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you, good job with that. I like your idea, having to test the waters first. to find
Yeah.
out. So I think that's good.
So we don't get.
But you don't want to go too far.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-144.
That's correct. 44. I'll second.
Okay, roll call votes. Mr. Kaufman?
Yeah.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
And Ms. Colvin?
Yes.
This resolution is passed the 17th day of December 2024.
Okay. Is there any more resolutions that we missed? So far, so good?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, and then the 140 is going down into work session. So do we have any correspondence? Do you have any, Scott?
I do not.
Nope. Oh, we're good. No Christmas cards or anything? Oh, man. I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right, next up, elected officials' comments. Do you guys have any?
Just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. Be safe. Enjoy your time with your family.
I second that. Merry Christmas to everyone, and thank you for everybody having, hope you guys have a good rest of the year. No snow.
Yeah, no, no.
All right. Next, we can continue right into our work session if you want to.
Are you good with this? You don't need to. I'm just asking.
No, I'm fine with it. Gus is.
You could reprint that first page
Mhm.
too.
Gus, you want to reprint the 144 as well? Just
One
strike out.
44,
Yeah, it was the new one. I gave it
We'll
to
read it.
Stacy.
Yeah, we can reprint it.
Wait, I have it right here.
Yeah, she's got it.
yeah.
We just need to sign
Yeah.
it.
I'll cut it all the way down,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
start down there and start.
Okay.
No, Brad.
I know what you mean now.
143 is the
I'm
correct
with you.
number, right?
Yeah.
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 So I'm just gonna leave the camera on and go to the work session real quick
Yeah.
too.
It's fine.
motion, you would make a motion to go into work session? Don't need to? Okay. Let's turn it over to Mr. Fitzsimmons.
So I don't know how you guys wanna do this, we can go line item by line item. Or we can just point out the important things and the most updated stuff.
This is kind of your first time?
Yeah, well, I don't know how you guys do it. At the village, we just went through everything, but I don't know how you guys do it.
Did you take, kind of, like, tell us how you came up with the numbers, let's start with there.
Yeah, so obviously, so within the general fund, we have the trustees, the fiscal officer, and those are adjusted up according to the ORC for 2025. Salary for the administrator was increased by 3%, and of course, the things that support that, the taxes, the OPERS and the like. I did increase the others' salary a little bit because when we mow, I found out, by talking with the auditor's office, we really need to be more cognizant, and Scott and I have worked since summer actually on this,
Right.
that person who's ever mowing has to be paid out of the general fund and not out of Rose fund. When they're mowing
'Cause
our
they're mowing this
property
specific
and our
property.
cemeteries,
Okay.
because that's all actually out of
Makes
the general
sense.
fund and not
Okay.
out of, so that was increased the hair, not really, it wasn't a whole lot. Medicare, medicalization is about all the same. There's a little bit more fluff in there, because you know what the future is gonna hold in terms of our next year's cycle. Auditing services are up, I put in about 7K because I don't anticipate, so this is what you're gonna find when I do this, as I have built fluff in this end of it, so we don't have to keep moving money and, that's just a different way of doing it than putting it all in the transfers out and then moving it. I'm just building it more into the line item. And I guess, I had wanted to start off, so how we get there, remember when we did, back in June, we did the tax budget, so this is just going historical. So when we did that, we guesstimated what our revenues were gonna be and kind of gave a shot at what our potential expenditures were gonna be. From there, it went to the county, the county certified our revenue for the coming year, so they looked at the numbers that we anticipated we're gonna get. They balanced it with the tax numbers that they're seeing, and they kind of give us a certificate of resources. So when we go to do the appropriations, then we have to stay within those certified resources that they gave us back in July. Now, some of this will change because, back in July, we're guessing at what our carryover is gonna be for next year. So that's gonna change obviously in January, because we'll file for an amended certificate with true numbers then. So when you look at some of this, you'll see that, well, I don't have this one specific for you, but when you look at the certificate, it will show typically a lower amount, because you're just kind of guessing in July what you're gonna have in January. So those will change going into it, but it does set the number in which you gotta kind of play in. That's the field that you have to stay in when you're doing these appropriations. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking all of it. So they're considering that carryover, they're considering, again, whatever possible means that you're gonna get for revenue, and that's the number you certified, and that's what we're kind of staying in. So that's kind of how we got there. So going on through with the general fund, I added a others technical services account, and that's where we're really pulling the LCB fees out of now, and of course we have a meter investment. Our contract's for 10, but I put 12 in there just to play on the safe side. US Bank, because now we're paying them as well for the custodial account, and that'll be, again, that's a little higher than what I anticipate. SC Strategic, that's for the thing that we just signed for tonight, and the potential for, well, next year's dues or fees, and then the potential for other scanning. So that's just earmark. And remember, when we do appropriations, well, there's two things about, so we're doing the temporary appropriations, so This means that this is really setting the money that we were gonna have for the first quarter of 2025. So I think that's important to remember. But most fiscal officers try to get that as close to the permanent appropriations as well. But right now, this will be, this is the first go at this, essentially. So we'll adjust it and tighten it next year, going into March, end of March, when we set the permanent. But right now, the numbers are a little higher, but if you don't use it, you're not gonna lose it. It just gives you that spending authority if you need it, you don't have to go back. That's why, either case, increasing the line item or increasing the transfers valve is what typically happens, so you don't have to go back. If you lock it down too tight, then if you need $5 more to buy stamps, then you have to pass the resolution, it has to go to the county, in order to increase your overall appropriation. So you build a little bit of that in here to help, to do that. So we went to the new lease copier, so that's gonna be a little more expensive this year, we set that at $4,000. You just caught the $7,500 for, travel and expenses, but that's $2,500 per trustee, and if you don't use it, that rolls back. The administrator and the zoning officer, theirs is a little higher because they turn in, mileage, on a regular basis. But it's all encompassing, for them. You know, we got the postage for the community magazine, again, that used to be under, I think, an all others kind of category, I've set that out a little separately now. Same way with, the postage, in the magazine as well, so all that's kind of set out on the side, so we can track that a little bit better. There was a little bit of increase, obviously, on your property and liability. I increased that probably by 3% over last year. Office supplies are about the same as what they were. Operating supplies out of the general fund are about the same. Small tools and equipment, we didn't really use a lot, but I just kept that in there. Dues and fees, I brought them all together under this particular category, and so that's set to $1,500. Contributions to other organizations. Now, this is a good time for you to kind of look over that and say, is this what you want to spend? I basically based it off of what we did this year, but I wanted to do the breakdown, and then that way it's kind of more already set in stone.
No, I like that.
We don't have to run and guess. So if you guys have changes to that, okay, so there's the truck task force, other expenses. Property services, and so that's like mowing, that's Tom Guy, that's, some of the other things that we use. Garbage, trash removal, I broke that out as a separate cost this year. Repairs and maintenance, that's really about the same. Telephones, again, I kind of broke that down so we have better understand that cost, or what's going into the telephones, so that's the administrator's cell phone and the admin's phones. Electric utility, we're really honestly pretty steady with that. I broke out the Marvin line as just separate, so we can track that separately. Water and sewer, and a lot of these haven't changed. There is the $100 on the utilities, other utilities for the ring, but I left $400 in there for any other incidentals there. Improvement for sites, so that's mulch and trees and those kinds of things for the property here, or even down on Main Street or wherever. Compensation for board members, that didn't really change either. Other salaries, that's the remaining of Stacy's pay. Comes through some of these other professionals. The gateway, so under her, she has that credit card service, so that's the gateway and merchant bank. Those are fees that we get into every year with them. So that's broke out just a little differently this year under the professional services agreement. Travel expense again for $3,000 for her, postage for $4,000, but grand of that is for just really for general, but then the rest of it is for the community magazine. We set $3,000 for paying daily news for legal notices. Hopefully that goes to zero this year when that passes through the House. $20,000 for the community magazine, that's about, I think I bumped it up just a little bit more, just in case they decide to raise the prices. On the supplies, staying at $1,500. Payment to another political sub-hall, that's, the health department comes out of this, $5,500. A little less than that, but, in reality. But it might decrease the transfers out for the main fund. So all in all, it's $762,000 and $610. And our estimated our revenue is $658. So it's above that, but we also know it's not considered over appropriating because we have $2.5 million in there. But we also know we're not gonna spend all those appropriations, so it'll actually be less and there will be carryover.
Where would, on Gus's report, we had that website potential of some changes, where would that come out of in here?
The website,
Yeah.
Well-
Modification on that?
if we were to do that, then I would,
Professional services.
other professional services, yeah. That's where I would put it.
Okay.
You know, I know, just switching gears a little bit, I know the Corwin, they paid $600 from a group out of Wisconsin that redid the whole website. Now, they pay for hosting where we wouldn't, but it was a very user-friendly site. But anyway, that's the totals for the certified resources and then your estimated revenue. So when we go to the motor vehicle license tax fund, there's not a lot there. We'll use contracted services, and the certified resources amount will go up because if you look at your actual fund, it's a bit more than that. It's about $23,000 on there now. So you'll add about another $20,000 to that. But that'll be up to the road department how they ultimately want to spend that money. Gas tax fund, we've already started kind of thinking about those road projects, but there's another road line item in here we'll get to. But that's for contracted services, operating supplies, and transfer out. That's just really, it'll be up to Scott on how they deal with that. The road and bridge department, or fund, actually, it's kind of, it's lower, and and I'll tell you why here in a minute. So it's the salaries, we increased them by 3% across the board, which impacted the Medicare and OPERS, workers' comp. Just trying to go through here and see what's. I did break out this year the uniform tool and equipment, as you know, that the board approved the 08, but they could have $400 a piece. This is gonna stand out now, instead of being within a other category. And then my intention is to give them, each one will have their own PO so we can track the expenses a little bit better, going forward. So there's travel expense for him. Road department phones, cellular phones, they use 2 plus internet down there. Electricity is really unchanged. Propane's really unchanged as well. Operating supplies at $5,000. Dues and fees are just for the OTA, and then of course the drug screening program. $6,000 for and that's really kind of remained the same. The uniforms, they get their Centos, that kind of stands steady. So so actually what's being appropriated is a little less, but I know he wants to, I think, have a little bit more to spend, but we can't right now because I think this is the account. Came in a little lower. We guessed a little lower than what we're actually carrying over, because we're gonna be carrying over $272,000. And what we guessed at was about $39,000, so there's gonna be about, $240 increase, in the overall certified resources in the end.
When the hot box coming out of ARPA funds?
Yeah, so, 25,000 is coming out of that.
Okay, that's right, it was only a portion.
Right, there's gonna be.
Yeah, it's only about $4,000 actually coming out of my road fund.
Okay, so you got 30,000 listed here.
I just did that as a holder, for that.
It's just temporary.
Yeah,
Things can change.
right, So that's what I did there. It was really more of a kind of a placeholder. Once it's spent, you know,
Once we get that paid,
yeah,
it'll come
and
out
then
of
we'll,
that.
then we can reduce it or whatever. So going to the fire district fund, which I'm sure there's a lot of anticipation about. So medical hospitalization, but I'm sure what's going to be more interesting is the part-time. That depends on how you guys decide on what scheme that you guys are gonna use. I plugged in just for budgetary numbers to have 48 hours of coverage per day, with a dollar increase, so it was $21 with 48 hours, so that'd be a paramedic firefighter. And of course, the assumption is we're not gonna have all the number, not every shift's gonna be covered by a paramedic, so that should come in a little less. We set the volunteer rate at 100,000, which, you know, again, we're in temporary mode, we'll see what it shakes out to be. I suggested to Gus that when we do this, go to this point system, at least from the back end, that we just let that ride, since this is our first year, go all the way to the end, then kind of make a determination of what you guys want to cover for a per point, and then see where it balances out, you know. That way we'd have a better feel for it, rather than trying to back that into it, since this will be our first rodeo on this one. So, you know, of course, you know, that, you know, depending on how things are, you know, we're gonna remain a little high on the OPERS, because I don't know who all is gonna remain as EMS only, so we're gonna continue to pay those people the OPERS as required by law. Social Security, Medicare, none of that's really changed a whole lot. Professional technical services, comm center, we gotta pay them on a quarterly basis for the use of their services. Other professional technical services at the doctor, for the physical exams and drug testing at $5,000. Professional technical services are for the alarm and camera. Well, it's really, I threw that in this camera, but maybe we end up with camera, I don't know. But really for the alarm, we have the Centos fire alarm down there, so it appears, at least from billing, that they service it, certify it, and of course, then there's a monitoring fee as well, so there's multiple fees that come out of that, for that piece of it. Property service, same things, if they wanna buy mulch and those kinds of things. And then we've added a new leased copier that looks nice down there, so we increased the cost for that. So repairs and maintenance, you know, of course, we're probably thinking more, since this is more of the district fund, probably more towards the station than equipment. Telephone, that's really kind of unchanged. Electric, I did break out the electric, so, you know, we can tell, you know, depending on how long we keep Station 92, but it kind of breaks it out so we can start tracking the utilities for Station 92 over Station 91. So those are kind of broken out, there's not, it's really an increase per se, just, it's just broken out separately. Property and liability hasn't really changed a whole lot. Again, I think a 3% increase just to cover any changes potentially this year. Operating supplies for the station, I don't really see training services. That's for the EMS side of the house. So the 230 program codes for EMS, and the 220 is for fire, as it is given to us by the auditor's office. So the med account, I think that was in another, this year, I gave it its own cost center, so I added some cost centers so we can track differently. So the med account, which is going to go to our billing, I gave it its own cost center, that way we can kind of keep track of what we're paying them. Rents and leases, they have acetylene along with oxygen, so I went ahead and added that, because that's part of the rents and leases they would currently pay out. Improvement of the sites, machine and furniture, $25,000 transfer out. So we're at $850,000, so we're about $50,000 over estimated revenue, but again, I think some of that's gonna come up a little bit once we certify the actual amount, and then of course we're not probably gonna spend all of this. So that's that piece of it. Fire Fund B, due to the challenges of adding on additional part-time staffing, I moved in, that's coded on the left is wrong, it should be 2191. So when I did the cut and paste, I forgot to throw the 9 in there. But I moved the chief salary and administration staff salary over to the Fire Fund B to balance out the books, instead of putting so much weight on that one particular fund. So a lot of it's gonna be salary and life insurance and those types of things. And then the other of it's just repair and maintenance, which I think is about what we initially appropriated. I think it was spent more than that, but that's what initially appropriated, I think perhaps maybe last year. Professional services, again, operating supplies, this is stuff that the chief would eventually talked about. The 142, some of that is the Marks grant and the Loeb grant. So even though we're getting free money, we still have to appropriate the money in the system. So I bumped that up to include that basis for that. And that puts us about 145,000 over estimated revenue. But again, and that's probably not gonna honestly change a whole lot. And you will see probably an increase in our certification of the resources, but I don't anticipate really a decrease, looking at these particular line items. So go on to the motor vehicle tax, and again, that's gonna be, we're gonna have more than that in there, but, that's the standard appropriations of $120,000 that I continue to use, for this year. That can be used for, roads and whatnot. The ARPA fund, of course, that's being zeroed out, but we still have to show that as appropriation, because I doubt that I'm gonna pay any of these bills this year, so we're gonna have it for next year. Still in the budget. Lighting district, that's on it, it's not changed a whole lot. We are gaining some ground on that, but I know we're under a new contract, and so Gus can look at that, if we're charging too much or whatnot. And then the OPWC road project, and that's our last fund. I just created this particular fund. So the contracted services will be, of course, what's it's being guesstimated at right now for Corbin Avenue and Clarksville Road. We have to run we'll have to run everything through there except for our money, because our money's in funds that we can't transfer. So, but when the village of Corbin and Waynesville and Warren County goes money, it'll go in there, and then we'll be able to pay on this new project. And again, those numbers aren't even final either, because they didn't put it out to bid. So that'll likely to be changed as well, next round. But, there's something on the back there. Oh, yeah, the food pantries, we don't have the money come in, the Hartsuck money has nearly dried up, so there's only $483.20. Last year, and we would have cut them, the remaining of that last year, but the appropriations were, well, I say last year, 2024, because they came to us for a request, and pretty much to close it, but we only appropriated to 2,000. So we can appropriate out the remainder and close up the fund with that.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
So during the recycle rally, we collect money for them, and we just pass it back to them, but we usually bring it in and account for it because it comes through the township. Does that make sense? So I don't know if you need an account in order to do that.
Because we will
We're
be
giving
going
them money,
around.
yeah.
Because
Well,
I mean, if
but that was kind of a special deal.
but that's assuming
That's
we,
where, that's where we have put.
that's what
whatever
we've done.
we got it.
Huh?
We have the contributions.
Well, I mean, you can take contributions, yeah. So,
I don't know, unless there's a different way that we want to
So we'd have to
show
appropriate
that we
more.
received it and we gave it.
well, we can,
You can.
You can't appropriate more than you have in there, so, yeah.
that's all we can appropriate right now. We get a check between now and March 31st, well then we can change that.
Well, it'll be May. It'll be
Yeah.
second round.
Yeah, so,
So how do you handle when you get a donation?
Yeah.
How do you,
Well, yeah, well, we would
how
just,
do you accept that? I mean, it doesn't go to appropriation, but how do you accept that?
might be just like any other grant or anything, it just,
Okay,
you
so,
receipt it out to the particular revenue budget or revenue account. And in this case, it'd be the food pantry, but whatever, the coinciding revenue account for food pantry, it'd go in there, then pay it out to the expenditure side of the house.
Right, you could have a representative of the food pantry be at the recycle rally, and then they can take the money directly.
Well, you know, it's just how we've done it, but I didn't think we'd have
Yeah.
to,
I'm just saying,
if we really
yeah.
had
Or
to.
if they had a
keep it
check,
open.
like, could we make they could make checks out if there was any checks to the actual food pantry, yeah.
So like people are paying cash is what it is for, the free on removal. And so then we gather up all the cash and we
Sure.
bring it back here, but
Gotcha.
if we don't have to do that, I mean, it's just how we kind of
Accounted for it.
accounted
Yes.
for it, but I don't know if we have to, you know, I'm not sure the answer to that.
I like the representative to food pantry being down there to take the money they have themselves.
Well, yeah, they would just have to get the money from Boyd, who's collecting it.
Well,
Or you collect
I
it directly?
I collect it, and I generally take all their food to them that day. She meets me normally at the church there and takes all the,
Well, how much do you normally bring in?
Is it how much?
Well, I mean, there should be an average at least, though. Normally $1,000,
no,
500?
like that. You know, it's $15 to get your free on, basically, so maybe 300, I don't know, something like that.
Well, that's something we can work on.
You got to-
Yeah, we got to get that figured out.
Okay. Are you good, Scott?
I'm done.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it, we're done with the temporary work session with temporary appropriations, so we can go back to, if you guys are good.
Yep.
We can go to resolution 2024-140. That's a resolution approving a temporary appropriation of 2025 that we just reviewed. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-140.
I don't know what the resolution is.
I'll second that.
All right, so Jacobs, Colvin,
Yeah.
and we'll
We
call
already signed this.
it. It's probably down there. Is it down
This
there?
is 144, that's.
This is 140.
I, 140, I did not print one because that's one that typically the one I sent you that Daryl did last year, so it was,
Alright. That's the other, that's
There's
the,
140.
Oh, that's the real
144.
one. Okay. So it's Jacobs and Colvin.
Yes.
All right. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Kaufman,
Yeah.
Mrs. Colvin,
Yes.
and Mr. Jacobs.
Yes.
Okay. This has passed this and adopted the 17th day of December, 2024.
I know, we need to get up. That's a good call. So right now, what we're gonna do before we go into executive sessions, we actually have,
Okay.
some cake and some cookies over there for everybody, so, because I know if we go into executive session, you guys might just all leave, but I at least want to give an opportunity for you guys to enjoy some cake and cookies. So let's go ahead and I'll make a motion to take a recess here at 8:15,
Okay.
and then we'll come back after that
Okay.
for cake recess.
Cake,
Refreshment.
Yes.
Cookies and juice.
So she needs a second, and we can vote.
Second.
Oh, okay, he second.
All in favor?
Aye. All right. So time right now is 8:32. We're gonna go back into regular session. And so we're continuing with the resolutions. There's one more resolution that we needed to put on there, was 2024-145. This is a resolution to accept a grant from the state fire marshal to be able to spend on the radios as well. Chief, you have just a little bit more on that?
No, Ed, I sent you the proposal, Lieutenant Patterson worked hard on this, he used our radios and NBC's are his AOR. He did a pretty comprehensive assessment to bring us up what we need. All the radios will now have lapel mics and things like that, and upgrade a couple things, more bank chargers, vehicle chargers. So,
Well, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-145.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Kaufman,
Yeah.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
and Ms. Coleman.
Yes.
All right, this resolution is passed the 17th day of December 2024.
Okay, next, we're going to go
You
in,
can sign.
I'll go ahead, sorry. Next, we're going into executive session. We're gonna put a motion to enter in executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 121.22G1, to consider the compensation of a public employee. And we're gonna have Gus Edwards and the trustees. But the trustees are first, okay?
Right.
So I'll make a motion to go into executive session at 8:34.
Second.
Yep.
Okay. Roll call vote, Mr. Kaufman,
Yeah.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes,
Ms. Coleman.
Yes.
All right, we stand in recess.
and then the questions with that?
We'll just go to conference.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can go to conference. Quick and then start to see if we go from there. And we're gonna have any legislation possibly afterwards.
Justice got it.
Um,
I think Justice got it.
Gus, you don't have any resolutions after this executive session, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. All right, ready? Nope. All right, time now is 11:34, and we came out of executive session. We are now going to go back into regular session, and I'm going to make a motion to close the meeting at 11:34.
I'll second that adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night.